Welcome back to everybody on the rest of the day and to another edition of Raw out of 10. And John Cena is officially retired from WWE following his loss to Gunther on Saturday, but that doesn't mean WWE was done airing tributes to the 17-time champion. We got all of that plus the fallout from all of the Gunther stuff, and yeah, a lot of other action. But we started things off with a recap of Cena's final match, which led into Gunther making his way to the ring. The crowd gave him a lot of heat as he stood on the announce table and posed for the unhappy crowd. He bragged about making Cena tap out before dropping the mic and walking away with a huge smile on his face. However, he turned around and went back to the ring so he could pose one more time as the entire arena booed him. He looked like he would leave after that, but he chose to go back and keep bragging about making Cena tap out. One of the defining qualities Gunther has is his simplicity, and the segment leaned into that. He didn't need to talk for 20 minutes. He just needed to get out, get some heat, and it worked. The camera followed him backstage. Adam Pearce told him to exit. He drove off while mocking Cena's hand gesture to AJ Styles. It's barely a segment, but it was also exactly what it needs to be. Gunther doesn't need to do much to get a big reaction, so it's smart to let the crowd do the heavy lifting here. As we then moved on to the first match, New Day versus the Usos, bit of a throwback, and Grayson Waller was in the New Day's corner. Jimmy and Kofi started for their teams with a standard lock-up into a headlock sequence. Both men ducked kicks from each other to show how well they would do with each other. While this was a serviceable match, these two teams have had so many show-singing performances in the past, it fell short of what they're capable of. To be clear, it wasn't a bad match, it just didn't really measure up to some of the house-tearing matches we've seen before. It just felt like something was missing. Thankfully, they were given a lot of time to work, so it didn't feel rushed and they had the opportunity to sell. Once Waller was booted from the ring for interfering, the New Day's advantage went away. The last third of the match, definitely the best part. They did a good job making it look like either team could win, but Usos got the win with the 1D, and I think that's probably the right decision. Hopefully they're back in the title picture soon. 6 out of 10. As we then moved on to Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, who were heading to the ring for a promo when Asuka and Kairi Sane attacked them from behind. The Kabuki Warriors left them down out to the end of the segment. The next match saw Dupree defend her women's IC title against former friend Niall. Maxine tried to show she wasn't scared of Ivy, but she quickly found herself on the mat. Dupree used more submissions to show how much training with Natty has helped, but she was still being portrayed as inexperienced despite being with WWE for a while. The story of Dupree's reign is that she's defied the odds, so it makes sense for her to continue to look like an underdog, but at some point she kind of has to progress past that. There's no denying Dupree's looked better in the ring the last few matches, but it feels like she has a way to go. She has more confidence in how she moves, and that definitely makes a difference. Niall countered a hold a few times, but Dupree kept going back to an ankle lock, and it eventually got her the win. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. We then got Stephanie Vaquer versus Raquel Rodriguez. Punk marched his way to the ring after the break before looking like he meant business. He focused all of his attention on Bron Breakker and what happened in the War Games match. Surprisingly, the promo went uninterrupted. The next match to take place was a women's world title bout between Vaquer and Rodriguez, who asked Liv Morgan and Roxanne to stay backstage. Rodriguez used her height and strength to her advantage, but Vaquer stayed in the fight and made it competitive. It never felt like she was in too much danger of losing, which is not exactly what you want in a title bout. A solid performance from two women who have gotten better at working. Unfortunately ended with Nikki Bella attacking both of them to cause the match to go off, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. As we then got Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul in the main event, they locked up and fought for control in the corner, but when Paul tried to talk some trash, Rey responded with a slap across the face. For some reason, the ref allowed Paul to use his belt as a weapon, which allowed him to take control for a little while. When we went to a break, Mysterio regained the upper hand with a moonsault from the apron to the floor. This was a decent match with some good high-flying spots from both men. Paul had learned a lot in this time with WWE and continues to show more improvements with each match. Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker started heading to the ring, but Punk showed up with a chair to drive them off. A few moments later, the masked man hit Mysterio with a stomp while the ref was distracted, allowing Paul to hit a splash for the win. Punk showed up and the masked man revealed himself to be Austin Theory. This allowed Breakker to hit a huge spear to take out the champion. Yeah, I thought this whole masked man and stuff would go on for a bit longer, but I mean, Austin Theory could be interesting. Definitely had some more kind of spice to the world title match and New Year's, first week of the New Year. So yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Overall, Raw this week gets a 5 out of 10 from me. Yeah, I thought this probably wasn't the best Raw. I think the good stuff was decent, but overall, except for that, it didn't really capitalise massively on Saturday night's main event. The Masked Man, yeah, it's kind of surprised to see it revealed so quickly, but I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 overall. Could be better, but yeah, still some intriguing stuff.
Hey guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.